Welcome back, everybody. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is Desk Careers at Dubai English Speaking College, and we are bringing another amazing digital spotlight to our platform. Welcome, Dinu Bors. How are you today, Dinu?
Hi Maria, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really, really well. It's so exciting to have you here. We've seen you around the college a few times. We've had you in talking about different initiatives, but today is all about Dinu, the man, the professional, and the career journey of Dinu Bors. So let's start right at the beginning, if that's okay, jumping right in there.
Yes.
So where did it all start for you? I think let's talk about the journey, and then you can bring us to where you are today. So where did it all begin for you?
Basically, I was born in Moldova, which is an Eastern European country, and lived pretty much 70 years there, finished my primary school, secondary school, and then moved to Romania for my high school education because back then Romania was already part of the European Union. So the educational system was much more advanced than in Moldova. When I graduated from high school, I said, okay, I want to do more. I want to get an even better education for my bachelor's. So I moved to Netherlands to study international business. Now, since back in period of 2011, 2012, Chinese economy was booming. I said, okay, let's try to study to do an exchange program in China, and moved in 2012, moved to Beijing and studied for half a year at Beijing Foreign Studies University, and enjoyed a lot the time I spent there. And I said, okay, since part of my university program, I need to do an internship, might as well do it in China. So I did my first internship with PricewaterhouseCoopers in Beijing back in 2012. Now, since I had to graduate, afterwards went back to Netherlands, finished my bachelor's degree, and said, okay, it's time to try something new. Ended up in Mexico. So spent almost 1 year in Mexico, learned the language, did some part-time job to have extra income while learning the language, and afterwards moved to Dubai.
That's amazing.
So,
That's quite the journey already.
so it's at the moment UAE it's been I've been here for over 5.5 years, and it's my sixth country so far.
That's really
Hopefully, it's gonna stay
amazing.
for long.
So bring it into context. How old are you, Dina, if I can ask?
31.
So 31 years old, you've traveled already so much. You have accomplished quite a bit in this short time. And the reason I'm asking for your age is because students watching this spotlight, some of them would assume that a spotlight speaker has to be at the end of their career journey where they're right at the pinnacle top of where they imagine that we would be at retirement age. But what we're trying to show with the spotlights is different paces of different age groups. So it's great to have someone who's in their early 30s, very early 30s, talking about what they've done and where they started. So I know a lot of our students, considering going down the business pathway, are really unsure about what that means. In looking at your career, what would you say has been the key elements of the transition that you've faced through the different journey and traveling around the world, and through your experiences from being a student to doing an internship to now your current career?
One of the most important part is, I believe, taking risks and always being curious about discovering new things. Now, the first push, of course, when I moved to Romania, it wasn't pretty much my choice. It was my mom's choice because I was still 17 back then. But then even though Romania is a neighbor country, Moldova was part of it back in the history, the culture overall is different. So you get to meet new people, new way of thinking. And then when I moved to Netherlands, it was another amazing experience because that's the country where you have nationalities from all over the world and so on. And this is where I picked the taste for new discoveries, the taste for learning about new cultures, meeting people from different countries. Back then, I didn't, even when I started my university, didn't know much about the cultures in the Middle East region or Asia or Latin America. But having, I don't know, taking the risk of and being passionate about learning things, discovering things, it always added to this extra push of, okay, let's try a new country, let's meet new people, let's try new industries. So always having the idea of I can always learn something new, I can always discover something new. It was the motivation behind traveling around, trying new things and meeting new people.
So great. So I didn't, and I did it deliberately, I didn't identify what your career role is right now. Maybe you can talk to us a little bit about what you're doing right now and how it's different to what you were doing when you first started your career.
When I first, at the moment I'm working with Nefsi, it's a food platform with a charity aspect. So basically, whenever you order a meal from one of our partner restaurants, one meal gets donated to Red Crescent, who who has a lot of projects in around 25 locations around the world related to food shortages. My current role is focusing on getting companies, getting individuals involved in our product. So bringing companies on board, schools, universities, different organizations who are interested in, let's say, the fight to solve hunger.
Amazing. So a career that you're really aligned with and that you feel very connected to the bigger purpose. And I see this a lot with the youth. And we talked about this in our in our April careers community meeting, where we talked about the youth wanting to embark on careers that are not just interesting for them, but also have a bigger purpose. How do you see that with your own career in what you're doing right now with Nefsi? How do you see that what you're doing every day has a bigger purpose?
So overall, at the beginning of my career, I work in different industries. I was an intern in PricewaterhouseCoopers, which was focusing mainly on researches about business companies, different industries, customers. I also worked when I moved to Dubai. I worked for Henkel, which is a global multinational focusing on sales. From sales of chemical products, I jumped into a startup, which I started with two friends in education. And then I ended up in Nefsi. Now, overall, the amazing aspect of working in different industries, even though it was for a short time, you get to learn a lot from different industries. And afterwards, you build a skill set which you can use for any future positions. One thing which is related to my current job, but has nothing to do with my past experiences, is me being a Rotaractor. So Rotaract is part of Rotary International, and it's a biggest community-based club around the world. So they focus on different projects, community-based projects, international-based projects, professional development projects. So I've started with Rotaract back in China in 2012 during my internship. And when I moved to Dubai, I found a local club as well. So throughout my career, even in Dubai, I was focusing also on different charity works. So I have a separate passion for charity, helping, getting involved in different projects. Now, Nefsi, it's a company which does both. It's a business at the end of the day, but half of it, let's say, it has a charity aspect. So bringing all the skills from different experiences, from previous job experiences, combined with the passion for charity, I ended up in Nefsi.
How does it feel to work for an organization that gives back to humanity?
It has an extra motivation to it. So even though you think that sometimes you cannot have, let's say, a perfect week, that everything you're gonna do work related is gonna be amazing. There are some tasks uh, which take too much of your time and you don't see much output out of it. There are a lot of barriers which you might be facing in dealing with different organizations, different people. But at the end of the day, regardless how bad your week is when it comes to workload, you know that there is an extra push for the next week because you're trying to do, you're trying to achieve something bigger than the company,
Of
which
course.
in our case is focusing on the world hunger.
That's amazing. Okay, take us to the everyday tasks. This is what young people don't learn in the classroom is what exactly do you do if we were to follow you on one day of your workday? What would we see Dinu Bors doing for Nefsi?
Overall, I would say a lot of follow-up. So usually I would make a plan at the beginning of the week or even during the weekend. I know which task I have to do for the next week. And most of it is follow up on previous week work. And as well, always being open to new ideas and new opportunities. It's really impressive how you can meet with a friend for a lunch, discuss about normal things, but then it always someone pops up an idea, oh, why don't you try this with your company? Or you watch a webinar with different people from different industries. You get new ideas, you meet people at different events. So they're always being open-minded and listening to other people's idea. Maybe they won't give you a bulletproof idea, but at least they can plant the seed for an idea and then you can do it with your company.
So following up and being open to new ideas. What are the things, the tasks that you do that nobody taught you, but you have to do at work?
That's an interesting one. They didn't teach, they haven't taught me during my studies, or they haven't taught me in the previous experiences.
Either.
I think one aspect which students in the UAE or a person who's been educated in the UAE has the main advantage compared to most of people in other countries is the multicultural aspect and the interaction. So here we go in a, or study in an environment where we learn by default from during primary, secondary school, high school, about how to interact with people with different backgrounds, different cultures, how to communicate with them. So even though I started back in the Netherlands, which had students, I believe, from over 180 or 190 countries, when it comes to business, I've seen now how important it is, particularly in Dubai, how to interact with people from different cultures. Some of the cultures are more straightforward. Some of the cultures prefer to have, let's say, 1 hour meeting which half an hour be talking about the weather, the family, other things, and then switching to business, while others straightforward, hi, this is the things we have to talk, that's what we have to agree, thank you for your time, see you next month or see you next week.
Wow, okay, so it's really about learning how to deal with different people from different cultures and respecting
Yes.
the differences, and I think it's more about adapting, it sounds like, from this perspective. Sounds really great. What types of job roles exist within an organization like Nefsi?
Overall, it's the same, the structure of organization would be pretty much the same as any other business in terms of would have finance department, would have a marketing department, a sales team, and other admin positions like human resources, office management, and so on.
And what industry would Nefsi fall under? If you were to put it in an industry, which one would it be?
It's a bit tricky because overall, as an entity, as a registered entity, would qualify as an e-commerce platform to a certain extent because most transactions happen online. We don't own the restaurants. We just own the platform on which we onboard the restaurants. And at the same time, even though we do a lot of charity, so the main say the second core part of the business is charity, we don't qualify as a charitable organization because we're still a for-profit company.
So what tips would you offer a young person trying to identify which industry would best fit them? Or would you suggest that they don't specialize to an industry and just really open up to a job specific role that they would like to do and then find an organization that they feel aligned with?
I think both options are perfect, because sometimes you might have a passion for a role. For example, if we're focusing on marketing or if we're focusing on finance, building a set of skills particularly for this job would definitely help them to advance, even though they would work in different companies. Now, on the opposite, having a company, maybe you would do your research. I want to work for the biggest tech company. I want to work for the biggest financial service company. Getting, let's say, an entry-level position for a company like this, being already in the company, they'll get to learn, oh, but I like how marketing works in this industry. So maybe I could find a way to shift towards marketing. Or someone would say, no, I like more to shift towards sales. I've seen the salespeople in this company. I see the job they're doing. So even though I had a passion for marketing, but I feel more that sales is something I can relate to.
Fantastic. Talk to us a little bit about how technology has evolved this e-commerce / charity platform that Nefsi is. During COVID-19, companies, whether they were technology advanced or not, have had really no choice but to get with technology. With Nefsi being an e-commerce platform, has it really changed how business and work is being handled, or has it evolved at an even faster pace?
Overall, we had to go actually through a very quick adaptation to the market situation. At the beginning, Nefsi was focusing mainly on dine-ins and takeaways, which didn't exist for the past 3-4 weeks. And we said, since we cannot do, the core of our business cannot operate into this environment, but we still want to help people. We still want to make sure that people who are facing any food shortages, or because world hunger didn't end because of the pandemic. The only thing which happened, it accelerated. And what we did, we launched a fundraising campaign with Nefsi, where we offer people both on our app and different platforms to donate a meal for only 12 dirhams. But one donation of 12 dirhams actually means 2 meals. So one meal would be donated to Emirates Red Crescent, and one meal to a person in need in the UAE.
Wow.
So since we're still working as a company, we couldn't focus on our core business. We focused more on the charity aspect.
So again, it's about adaptability and really adapting to those changes. What would your final top 3 tips be for a young person thinking about walking in your footsteps and doing what you do?
I think the most important one would be being open-minded, which is related to the second one, which is taking risks. Of course, there are some limitations into this, but when it comes to work experiences, trying a new industry, someone is offering you an opportunity which you definitely know, oh, I have no clue about finance, I never did marketing, but there is an opportunity. Someone is willing to give me this chance, definitely take it. And also being open-minded to, what can I say, the idea of you always have something to learn. There is no stage in life where you say, okay, I don't need to learn anymore regarding the topic because I know everything. Even if the moment you get to a very high level position in a certain company, the learning process doesn't stop. You can always learn something new from people. You can always learn something new from different industries. So always keep pushing the limits in terms of learning.
Amazing. So be open, take risks, really take those opportunities. And your final one?
Always learn.
Always learn. I love it. I love it. Always learn. You're never at the place where we know everything. There's always room to learn more. So fantastic. Thank you so much, Dinu. Thank you for joining us on the Spotlight. And anyone watching this, if you are a business student or if you're a student that is really interested in working in an organization that gives back to the world, or if you're just a student unsure about what you want to be doing, I hope this Spotlight inspired you to really understand some of the key elements of travel, taking opportunities, learning new languages, learning how to take risks, and learning how to take those opportunities and stay active in your learning. It was such a great Spotlight. Thank you everyone for watching, and I look forward to seeing you at the Desk Careers Digital Spotlights from Dubai English Speaking College again tomorrow.
Thank you, Maria.